So, you want to hunt fossils. What are some resources that you may need? And what are some of the things you should do? So, I'm going to give you a brief list. It's not going to be all inclusive. It's going to be kind of rambly, but here we go. So, I know it's been a while since I've made a video, but I am going to get back into the swing of things. So, you want to be a fossil hunter, or a rock hound in general. What should you do? What are some of the resources that you need, and maybe some tools? Now, this is mostly going to be directed at the U.S. because that is what I'm familiar with. I'm not familiar with other countries, and with all the other countries there's no way that I could cover everything. But for the U.S., and the first few, some of these are going to be for any in general. For the U.S. though, what's the first thing you should do? First thing you should do is check your local laws, or of the state that you're going to be hunting in. Both local, state, and federal laws, you need to research that completely. The reason being is you do not want to break laws, and laws vary from state to state, and even from city to city sometimes. Some states allow you to collect vertebrate fossils on private land, other states do not. Some states only allow you to collect invertebrate fossils and certain plant fossils and that kind of thing. Now, if you're looking for gemstones, if you're just rock hounding and looking for rocks and gemstones, that's a little more lenient. But you still need to look at your laws. Never, ever hunt on federal or state owned land or any kind of public land unless you have absolute permission from the organization that controls that land. Preferably written permission would be best. And if you're going to hunt private land, you should get permission as well. Written permission preferred. Maybe you can sign a contract if need be, because hunting on private land has got a lot of people in a lot of trouble over the years. In particular, the ones that found Sue, the T-Rex. So let's say you have permission. It is on a private land and you have permission to hunt. What are some of the things you should do once you have that permission? Sorry, my phone. So what you should do is, this is where the research comes in. This is where the research comes in. Is once you have made the decision to fossil hunt and you have the permission that's needed, you need to research. Now, you can do the research before you get the permission, but always look at the laws first. What you do, there are several good resources here in the U.S. The main one that is pretty much free is the U.S. Geological Service. Their website here. I'll take a couple of screenshots and show here of some of the maps that they have. They have topographic maps as well as maps that specify which time period the rocks are from, and it gives the formation names usually. It'll also, you should also be able to get help finding which layer of rock is fossil bearing in that area. I'm just all over the place. So you can't just go out and dig. Basically, you don't need to go out just into the middle of a field and start digging. That's gonna get you nowhere. What you got to find are rock outcroppings. Here in East Tennessee, Southeast Kentucky, West Virginia, all the places with a large amount of Pennsylvania age rock and coal, a lot of coal country. A lot of those places have been strip mined. If you can get permission to hunt the strip mines, you can find a lot of really interesting Carboniferous age fossils, which would be what they call here Pennsylvanian, which is upper Carboniferous. So this is where the planet, at least large portions of the planet, was covered in vast swamps. You can find, mostly what you're going to find are going to be things like leaves, pieces of tree ferns, and seed pods, that kind of thing you may find. Here in my area, the biggest part of the fossil is in siltstone. At least on the Pennsylvania side. Siltstone or sandstone, and it's usually found around coal. But you need to find an outcropping, whether it be just a natural outcropping, if it's a something like a strip mine, or you don't need to be going into deep mines at all. Don't ever go into a mine. Or road cuts. Road cuts are another good place, but you also have to know what the laws say about hunting road cuts as well. Always check the laws. Don't do anything that's going to get you in trouble, and especially don't do anything that's going to bring a bad name to fossil hunting and may cause laws to be passed in the future that would restrict it for the rest of us. So once you, there's another good resource if you're willing to spend the money. There is a series of books. It doesn't cover every state, but there's a series of books called Roadside Geology. I may have done a video beforehand on that. I have the Roadside Geology of Tennessee because I live in Tennessee. I don't think there's a Roadside Geology of Kentucky yet, but they are supposed to be working on these, from what I understand. But there are like other roadside books. Those are really good. You can, so that also gives you the formation maps that are on the USGS website as well. So you can use those. Those books gives you a lot of information. You may be able to find one at your local library. But if you're going to put any kind of money into your research, any kind of books to buy, I would suggest. Now, I'm not sponsored whatsoever by from the producers of Roadside Geology. I just really like the book. Another thing, you don't necessarily have to find a rock outcropping to hunt fossils. You can go to something like a stream or a river. Again, make sure you know your laws. Or the beach. If you live on the eastern seaboard, you can go to the beach and find fossils. Again, check your state laws. Because in a lot of states you can collect shark teeth and that kind of thing, but you cannot collect large vertebrate fossils. So if you're in somewhere like Florida, or I think there was one found in South Carolina where large mammoths and mastodons have been found. You cannot, in certain states, you can't do that. Even in a lot of states, it has to be on private property before you can completely excavate that and it be considered yours. A lot of states and a lot of, depending on the federal law, if you do that, you could end up in trouble. You can't, even if it's on private property, it's considered a natural resource or it can be considered a national treasure like Sioux. Sioux was taken and auctioned off. It was argued that there was a bunch of argument. It was a mess. So once you have found a place to hunt, you need to prospect a little. Take a look at the rocks. Know what you're looking for. Get a guide. There's some good field guides. Get some kind of guide to allow you to identify fossils, as well as a good rock and mineral guide. For the U.S., Peterson's field guides are pretty good. I have a lot of different Peterson's field guides, but there are other really good field guides as well. I would suggest having one of those, even if you're just fossil hunting. Have a rock and mineral identification, a rock and mineral guide, and a rock identification kit wouldn't hurt either. So that is just basically a kit that will allow you to identify rocks based on several different criteria. Some of those criteria are the size of the grain, whether it reacts with acid, weight or mass, and hardness. I almost forgot hardness. So here, like I was saying, in East Tennessee, or at least in the place I live, the fossil-bearing rock are mostly in silt, whereas in Kentucky, a few, about 35 miles north of here, all the rock is in limestone, or something similar to limestone. I think it's limestone, best I can recall. Anyway, there's a lot of crinoid fossils there. So that is lower Mississippian, or Mississippian lower Carboniferous, where this is Pennsylvanian here, upper Carboniferous. A good rock hammer or block hammer works wonders. A chisel and a pry bar. Those are all things that's going to come in handy. Be careful. A good brush to brush off any dust or debris. You will need bug spray. You will need a first aid kit. You need your basics for going into the field. Just for the simple fact that you could get hurt. You're going to be using equipment. You're going to be using tools a lot of times. So you're going to need that to. You could have a mishap, so you're going to need a first aid kit. Bring water and a snack, and you should be good to go. There are books for other countries. Always, like I said, again, I'll keep re-saying it, look at your laws. Know the laws. Because fossil hunting is actually fairly restrictive. Something that I would suggest, that is something that I would do, that if somehow I made a major find, instead of just the same old leaves over and over, or the same old types of fossils, it's really common. If I discovered something really rare, I would call a museum or call a university and see if they could do something about that. Because we don't need. I'm a scientist at heart, and we all need to realize that some of these things really need to be studied. Now, granted, I'm not one to say that fossil hunting should be illegal because I'm a fossil hunter. That private collections should be illegal. I'm not going to say that because I collect. And it's more than that. So, all the universities and all the museums that have paleontology programs, if they sent out every year their teams, which most of them do, they do not have enough time, manpower, or money to find every fossil. Some of the most incredible finds have come from private individuals. Most of these private individuals have, once they found something special, they tell someone that's what you should do. But yeah, so check out the USGS website. I'll put a link in the description. Check out check out the books, whether it be roadside geology in the U.S. Or geology of your country that you live in. You can check out. You can look for books. You can look for a lot of resources. A good one is join your local fossil club. Now, I do not have a local fossil club that is nearby within driving distance. But join your local fossil club. There's a lot of resources there, a lot of knowledge there, and a lot of people that will be able to help you out. And a lot of them that will be more than happy to help you out. As long as you're a good person and nice, they will help you out no matter what. So, have fun fossil hunting. I hope you find something, and have a great day.